those 5 kings in that hollow place in the earth. Okay, are you with me here? When it was time for them to be released, Joshua said, go move the stones out of the way. Kind of like with Lazarus, take you away the stone. There was something that was holding him and his stench in that cave. And the stone had to be moved away so that Lazarus could come forth. So think about these beasts now, these angels, down inside a pit. They're in the heart of the earth and they're in prison. And there's something that's holding them in so they can't escape. I think part of that, I think he that now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. I think, as Peter said, ye as lively stones. I think we are part of what is holding them back. So I see the rapture being associated with the number 5 all throughout the Scriptures. And I think once we are removed out of the way, I think these guys are coming out. There's just a theory that I have, and this is how I study the Scriptures. Something very interesting in the Scriptures that I found. Have this idea that you have this nation in the north, but they're locked up in there. Something needs to be removed out of the way so they can come out and go over the earth like a flood. What's in the way? I mean, if you go up to the North Pole, why can't you see the ocean? Because you're standing on it. It's ice. Look at Job 38. Out of whose womb came the ice? The hoary frost of heaven? Who hath gendered it? The waters are hid as with a stone, and the face of the deep is frozen. Look at that. The face of the deep and the waters are covered with ice, and he calls it a stone. And if you've ever been hit by an ice ball, it's a stone. Hard as rock. All right? Can't break through the ice. When the ground here in Missouri gets really, really cold for a long period of time, you can't dig in it, you can't do anything. All right? Now, watch this. We use the Fahrenheit system in this country. And it's based upon the fact that water freezes at 32 degrees. It thaws at 33 degrees. So the 33rd degree is what opens up the stone. Now the ice melts and those guys can come out. Just a little theory that I have, all right? Let me finish up with this. We have what I refer to as the rule of Arctos, the rule of the bear. You see here the United Nations logo. The United Nations, all the nations going to come together. They represent a new kingdom, a new world order power. When you look at this logo, you have 32 sections. That represents all the land masses in the nations. The only thing that's missing is Antarctica. Antarctica is referred to as international territory. No nation, of course nobody lives down there, except for a few military things or whatever, but it's uninhabitable by normal people because it's frozen. But you have this continent down there that really nobody except for the whole international community rules over. The United Nations is composed, when you see the symbol here, all the nations of the earth bound into these 32 sections. Remember the 32 kings with Sennacherib, the king of Syria. You have that idea of these 32 nations or these 32 groups, and they're ruled over by what's at the cap, the head. They're ruled over by this 33rd part, this 33rd section, the bear, Arctos. So, and again, this is information that we talked about in The Hidden Secret of the United Nations. So go back and watch that for more information on this. So far, we've dealt with the lion, the eagle's wings being plucked off, and we've dealt with the bear, and I believe this bear represents dominion. That's what the United Nations is. Ultimate dominion over all the nations of the earth. See, because right now, the United States is bound by treaty to the United Nations, United Nations Security Council. If the United States wants to go to war against somebody, they must do so either with the vote of the Security Council or against the United Nations. Because the United Nations, slowly but surely, is bearing rule even over the Constitution of the United States. When we get into looking at the leopard and looking at the fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, which I equate with a dragon or a serpent, when we look at those, we're going to see how the United Nations is doing it. But ultimately, remember how a bear is? A bear is territorial. When you look at this symbol, it is showing you the bear's rule over his territory. And the United Nations, slowly but surely, is taking this piece of land and that piece of land. And let me show you a map of the United States and all of the places in the United States that is designated as a United Nations biosphere, which means that only the United Nations can say what goes on in that little piece of territory. And normally, human beings are not allowed to have any kind of presence inside that land. Here's the map. So look at it. I mean, we're supposed to be the United States, all of us together, one nation, strong, one people, one land. But we're not anymore. We've been shredded by the paw of the bear, by the teeth of the lion. We have been shredded as a nation. They're taking our land, they're taking our people, they're taking over our educational system, they're taking over churches, they're taking over everything. The bear is rising up and devouring much flesh right now. So again, I say to you, you think that you got your bug out bag ready and you're ready to run, and run where? You're not going to escape. They're going to find you. The raging bear is going to find you. And you will lose unless you're on God's side. You are in the faith. That's where I encourage you to be. This is Pastor Mike. We're going to talk about the leopard, and next week we're going to finish up. We're going to finish up the part of the Fourth Kingdom series on principalities. Then we will move into powers. Very interesting stuff awaiting ahead. All right? God bless you. I hope you're enjoying this, and I hope you're learning something. This is what we're for. We will see you the next time. Bye-bye.